Hello, in this video I will try to make a short review of the different styles of drinking ayahuasca, the different ways of holding an ayahuasca session. I can see kind of 3 or 4 distinct styles, let's say 2 traditional and 2 kind of modern styles invented by the white people in the recent years. Okay, let's start with the uh, traditional way in which the local people in South America sit and drink ayahuasca. What do they do actually? Actually, there is much less ritual than most of you would expect nowadays. I don't know how it has been hundreds and thousands of years ago, but nowadays mostly it happens like this. They pour in their glasses and they drink. Usually before drinking, actually, they will kind of program ayahuasca. They will talk to it in the bottle and tell it what is the intention of their drinking this night. And then they would just pour in their glasses and drink without much ritual. Usually, well, sometimes there is what is called soplar, or and that is ceremonial smoking of mapacho cigarettes or tobacco in a pipe. And sometimes the shamans may blow it on the patients if it is needed for their treatment, or occasionally some other interesting stuff may happen, like a shaman doing something external with, let's say, a rattle, or some form of cure that would require some sort of physical action. But to be honest, it's usually the beginner shamans who use these techniques. The really old and good shamans, I have noticed, they will just sit and sing and do much more work than those who like to wave their hands a lot and stuff like that. It's not an absolute rule, but it's just an observation. The next style of holding an ayahuasca ceremony is also kind of traditional. It could be a subdivision of the first one, but it's the way the gringos, the white people, do it when they come to South America, and especially this is prevalent in the numerous ayahuasca centers, which are mostly in Peru. They because the locals do it with with so little external ritual, and the people who come to the centers actually do expect some ritual. The white people have done a very good job trying to revive or integrate rituals from other tribes. For example, these Shipibos themselves do not have the idea of incense burning and stuff like that, but they have included this idea from the North American tribes of sage smudging, for example, or Palo Santo smudging and things like that. And although these are kind of new additions, I actually find them very, very positive, because I mean, the Shipibos, it's hard to make them wear even their traditional clothes when they drink ayahuasca. They will do it only on special occasions. And when I ask them to do it when we have guests, they're kind of reluctant, and they need to be reminded 5 or 7 times before they actually do it. And I need to make them bring their kushma. I tell them to bring their kushmas many days before the event on which they will wear it, because they will also need reminding for a few weeks to actually bring their kushma. They don't want to bring it because they don't want to wear it. but trying to revive forgotten rituals or trying to borrow them from the other tribes is it's a very positive thing. Um, Also, it helps some people. I mean, many white people who come from the West, they still very much live in the world of the external things. If they don't see something strange happening around, they will not tune their consciousness into the idea that there could be other levels of existence, other states of consciousness. So it's kind of a nice reminder that your existence can be completely different from what you know every day, sitting in front of TV, eating chips and being programmed by the television. Also, external rituals are good because some people come, they drink ayahuasca, but they do not really have visions. Um, I mean, astral visions. So for them, it's nice to experience something different. I mean, they have come all the way from the other side of the world, after all. It's good to see some traditional stuff, even if it doesn't belong to the Shipibos in particular. And the third reason for which I very much appreciate these attempts by the ayahuasca centers is that there is a class of people who are completely new to meditation and working on their consciousness, and until they don't see something spectacular happening around in the three-dimensional world, they kind of mm, will not put their mind into mode of let's do something mystical. And it can actually help this type of people. In both in the two traditional ways which I just mentioned, after, let's say, 20 minutes, the shamans will feel the effects of the brew, usually, I mean, about if the brew is good, and they will start singing hopefully beautiful icaros. Not all shamans are good singers. There are some fantastic shamans who simply cannot sing well. They sing horrible, and that is also good. The evil spirits get so scared from such a singing that they're gone forever, never to come back. But usually we would hope to hear some nice icaros, and the singing would be at least 2.5 hours. If it is less, there is something wrong with the brew or with the dosage. Usually, I mean, there are exceptions with shorter ceremonies just like that, but 3 hours of ceremony after the actual drinking, and that is kind of minimum. Okay, now the next distinct style of holding an ayahuasca session is Santo Daime, the Church of Santo Daime. I think they're doing an excellent job introducing ayahuasca to Christians. I very much admire them. Their style is definitely very much different, no doubt about it. Their brew is much, much lighter than the Peruvian standard brew. They drink in much larger quantities, and actually they usually do the dosage themselves. They drink a glass and they see how they manage the situation, how is the flow of energy, and it's up to them if they want to drink one more, or that's how they do it. Their ceremonial style is structured in a completely different way. The experience is very much different. In the Peruvian style of drinking, you can encounter all kinds of things during your ayahuasca session. You may go to heaven, you may go to hell, you may go deep into your soul, you can reach anywhere. But when you drink with Santo Daime, it is built in such a way. I mean, they in a particular time they sing particular songs, they meditate on particular aspects of God and all that, and actually they do not permit the dark energies in their ceremonies. It's all blissful and connected to God. Well, that may sound good. However, I personally know some shamans from the Santo Daime tradition who came after working many years in this way and helping many people. They came to experience the Peruvian style of drinking ayahuasca, and actually they had a very hard time because apparently there are things when you have to want to repair them in your consciousness. You need to go through the dark regions of yourself somehow, at least for a short while. You need to visit those regions, and those shamans, they actually did, they felt like beginners because they had to deal with such basic things like the beginners who start to drink ayahuasca. Of course, they were shamans. They could do a lot of work much faster. They were drinking like 3-4 days in a row and really working hard. So they accomplished really marvelous jobs during their stay here in Peru. But um, always visiting God may not be the best thing in some respects, apparently. More about the Santo Daime drinking style. They drink in the day with open eyes, while in Peru it's usually when it gets dark. And mm, you're supposed to sit down and stand up at particular times and sing particular hymns. And to some people who are accustomed to the Peruvian style, that feels like kind of a constraint. To some, not to all. And then the fourth style of drinking ayahuasca is maybe we can call it music circle or something like that. It's usually with a shaman, with white shamans who have a strong background in Buddhism or yoga meditation or Hinduism or some other teachings that come from the East. The best shamans that I have met are falling into this group, and their ceremonies could be quite different. They may not sing at all. They may play recorded music or just listen to the sounds of nature around, and they wouldn't be always like a central figure during the ceremony, which will guide the others or try to cure them. The idea of music circle often, but not always, is that all the participants kind of hold the space. If this is a newly coined verb that I have heard from some white people who use it quite a lot around here in Peru. Everybody in the group is responsible about the flow of energies and the security of the uh, uh, ceremony or the session, whatever you prefer to call it. Hopefully, they are informed well before the ceremony how to do it, and hopefully, they will have the ability to do it at least to some extent. But this is the overall uh, way that it is done by the um, white people who decide to drink ayahuasca outside of the ceremonial context of South America. There would be often Indian incense or chanting of Vedic mantras, and often with music instruments, which is not very common in Peru. It is possible, but it rarely happens, musical instruments. And so this much about this fourth style of drinking ayahuasca. And I just remember that I forgot to mention actually very important difference between the first two traditional ways of taking ayahuasca. And that is that when the locals do it, it's only the curandero, the shaman, who drinks ayahuasca, and the patients would usually not drink. They would just sit and listen and believe that they will get cured. Although nowadays more and more patients, especially in Peru, do drink ayahuasca, and the reason is that they have heard that the Westerners are into it, so they want to try it as well. Same like with this famous ways of dancing. I mean, tango and the other things, they were not so famous amongst the locals here years ago. It is when the Westerners started showing great interest in them, then the locals were okay, well, this is really great, and they paid attention to their own tradition. So it is same with ayahuasca. Um, while this is the way the locals do it, however, when the white people come, it's the full group that drinks ayahuasca, and actually the shamans who work in the ayahuasca centers, they needed to adapt to this new situation and kind of um, make it the way it is, the new way to drink ayahuasca. Although, as I mentioned in one of the other videos of this playlist, there is historical evidence that this new way of everybody drinking is actually the old way of drinking ayahuasca, like centuries ago. I mean, when the full village would cook a big pot and drink it with singing and dancing all night, all of them together. And there are still some tribes who do that. Actually, they drink three times a week, even the children. Well, thank you very much for listening. And if you wish to learn more about ayahuasca, you can visit the playlist on my video YouTube channel called Ayahuasca Basics. Bye bye.
Bego kinda mato bego ka bego bego bae ke bwa kano mabu ke kano mabu shama ke yoda sana abu ke yoda sana ke mano yoda devi ama ba kano bu pi ja agta sonda ko pu mayam vai ke ko pu mayam vai ke mayam vai que mando yo ra ponte que shinaya bi ponte que mando voi voya bi ponte e ponte e ponte e no ade bi kaya ka ayahuasca sama bi mudaya i hondi go no ra e kana i yang kana i yang kana i Jaman, Jaman, so vai que so abokin ponte que shinaya bi ponte que mato ponte sonida, mato ponte sonida, mato ponte. Abano dio no mato wa yoda sa mati bi kasi mayo vai king. Suki mayo waing, Suki mayo waing, Suki mayo. King me as on the be mandonda mitimaga, go ye dig medico, Akana medico, midi sena wilwakan, Kanda akai, Kanda. Nevi kaya kang himi kayong pao yung diwatana ita merayan di ke himi merayan di song at ganda sampati da mato apano amang aso ni wabi no kung wakano kung pagkano yabi Kano voya vi mutko mayum pa iso mato yoda tibi Kano mayum pa diba Mayam Pajivam, Kando Mayam Pajivam, Kando Mayam Bang, Kando Mayam Pajivam, Hoy Sana.